Hello, everybody. Lawrence Fleming here again. Well, I'm in my new campsite, but I'm not fully set up yet. So I'm going to film inside the tent where I can do this without having to worry about what's going on outside. I've got to get a tarp up and haven't had time to do that. It's been hot. We made it through the whole day without rain. It's been raining pretty much every day, and it did rain in parts of Georgia today. It's been causing flooding. But we're not the only ones getting flooding. Pakistan has some major flooding over there. I was reading on an article about that. 4.6 million people affected, 300,000 homeless, over 1,000 dead, 90% of the crops in Sindh province ravaged. Everything is escalating around the world. There's no escape. We're still attacking in Syria, but we kind of sent an apology to Iran saying, we don't want to escalate anything with you. We're just trying to protect our people there. Well, technically, we shouldn't have any people there because by putting people there, we're challenging Iran because Iran wants that as their base. Same goes for Russia, but Russia's busy in the Ukraine. In fact, I think they just pulled out some air batteries out of Syria to move them over to Ukraine. The drones are pretty effective. So I hope Israel's taking note. All right. Because this is a moving day and I'm kind of tired, I'm going to do something for me and for you. I'm just going to kind of read some red letter verses from Jesus. I'm going to read the Beatitudes. This was his longest sermon, if you will, or longest teaching session. You've heard most of it before, but we're going to, rehash over it, make sure we're thinking about it. Try to imagine him being there, him coming up on top of a mountain and teaching. Thousands of people watching. We're not just talking, to his disciples. They all knew that he was healing and doing all kinds of things, so they followed him for that. Christ is a fisherman too. I should have put this on a table so it's not, it's on my lap. It is a laptop, but I should have put it on a table. Yeah, it's already started. I just try to be careful. Okay, I'm in Matthew chapter 5, verse 1. And seeing the multitudes, he went up on the mountain. And when he was seated, his disciples came to him. Then he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. I was thinking about this as I'm reading this. Sort of like when you read Shakespeare, you don't want to mess it up. And so that hit my head just at the time I started to read. This is Jesus speaking. You don't want to mess it up. Okay, Jesus, help me to say that with your spirit. Thank you. In Jesus' name. Okay, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. You want to think about each one of these. You want to think that, are you satisfying these? These are the basics of what human beings should be like in the world that God created. As people that God created, this is the way we should be behaving. Now, Jesus is teaching, so they don't have the Spirit yet. We have the Spirit, so there should be no excuse for any of these. Blessed are the pure in heart, verse 8, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. It's going to be a lot of us soon. for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. The more they attack us, the greater our reward in heaven. Okay. For they so persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all those who are in the house. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify the Father in heaven. Do not think that I came to destroy the law of the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For surely I say to you, till the heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will by no means pass from the law till all is fulfilled. Whosoever breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men to do so shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But so whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Got to understand that he's teaching Jews about how to be Jewish. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, which he didn't like, you will by no means enter into the kingdom of heaven. He didn't want to tell them that they couldn't get to heaven without his sacrifice. He's not going that far yet. He's trying to get their attention to win them over, so that way later on he can invite them. You don't want to come in, chewing somebody out, cussing them out, telling them they're evil, telling them they're bad right off the bat. The minute you do that, their roadblocks are up and you won't have any access. That may be true, but you want to basically win them over. If you're fishing, you don't get on the bow of the boat and yell, fish, jump in the boat. You got to lure them in if you're going to use a rod and reel. I don't think they had rods and reels back then, but they might have had just poles with a line on it. I don't know. But they fished with nets because they were commercial fishermen. I don't know if anybody back then was an individual fisherman. Probably, but the Bible talks to commercial fishermen because they're used to gathering in lots of fish and they got to gather in lots of people. Jesus left us with all these stories, rules, parables, even told us about the future when we get to 24. If you read just Matthew and just read all of his red letter in there, it'd take you a little while, not very long. It'd only take you a couple of weeks to read the whole Bible. Now, some of it's like reading the phone book, I agree. But intermixed in that, then there's parts of it that are meaningful. But you have to, after you read it, go back in and study it. For instance, we have two genealogies for Jesus. They don't match. One's the genealogy of Mary, and one's the genealogy of Joseph, who didn't contribute to the life of Jesus, but he contributed to the legal side of it. His was the true line. What's my phone doing? I'm using my new internet here. I'm going to see if it's going to work. I've got 4 bars on the box, but it seems to be slower. I'm not going to do a live video now. I've got an event on Sunday that's a premiere of one of my Star Trek fan films. I might tell you about it. I don't really like to promote myself, but if that works, then I might try to do live here. I know that as I have this box, it's got a meter on it that I can move around, and it tells me, poor, weak, strong, signal. And as I moved it around, I got stronger signal. So it's sitting now with 4 bars at this time of day. Is it going to change in the morning? I don't know. In the past, when I've tried it with my phone, the signal varied. So you just got to work with it. But I'm real happy so far with what it does. Um, I messed it up earlier because I'm the one that likes to tweak with technology. And I went in to see if I could hide it so that it didn't show up on people's um, Wi-Fi when they look for it. And it hit it all right. It hit it from me too. So I got to call them and find out how I can do that, but still have access. It may be that the signal is so weak, that's the problem. If I have stronger signal, maybe I can do that. But I got to call them and find out. So we do that. I got my laundry done because the other site didn't have any. So I had 2 weeks of laundry instead of one. I had to dry it twice, up and down the hill. I got all the way up there and it wasn't dry and I had to walk all the way back down, get more quarters and go back up. See, this is the toughness of this kind of lifestyle. Well, that's okay. I walked my prescribed minimum walk today. I've got my little, it's not a Fitbit, it's part of the phone. It's Google Fit, and it tells me how many steps I've made. And it has a way of kind of judging how much I'm moving and how hard I'm moving to decide whether or not to give me a little heart tick for that. And I have a minimum for that as well. Let me see. And you can see on my phone, I got that little, and you can see that it's green all the way around and blue all the way around. So it's going through and counting it off. So I have it set for the minimum. I have to be able to do that. If I can't do that, then I need to quit this and go live in a nursing home. All right. This is going to be a short video. I'm going to continue reading from the Beatitudes. Do I want to read any more now? I don't want to jump around. I'll read one more paragraph. Jesus is trying to point out that people who are claiming to be righteous but have thoughts of unrighteousness, it's the same thing as being unrighteous. You've heard it said that to those of old, you shall not murder, one of the 10 commandments. And whoever murders will be in danger of judgment. But I say to you, because when it says not to murder, you can defend yourself and others. You can kill. It doesn't say do not kill. It says do not murder. Do not kill without justification. And sometimes that's a gray area. But I say to you, whoever is angry with his brother without cause shall be in danger of judgment. And whoever says to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger. Where is that? I don't see the definition. Normally it pops right up. All right, look it up, Raka. I'll look it up, but not on your time. All right. Shall be in danger of the council. But whoever says, you fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar and you remember that there's a brother that has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and first reconcile yourself to your brother. Repent, be sin-free. Don't come to God with sin because he can't hear you, even with the Spirit in us. we can grieve the Spirit and not have access to God if we're doing enough sin. Agree with your adversary quickly while you're in a way with him, lest your adversary deliver you to the judge, and the judge hand you over to an officer, and you be thrown into prison. Surely I say to you, you will by no means get out of there till you have paid your last penny. Now, these are people that have problems. Maybe they owed somebody some money. No, be nice, try to work it out. Always try to be nice to people, even if you're in their debt for some reason. And it's going to go on more of the Beatitudes. If you're going to read it, it goes all the way through 6. And we read some of these just recently. Do not judge that you not be judged in verse 7. So these are all really good advice from the Master himself, from Jesus himself. He's teaching to all these people. Some of them may not go in the synagogue. Now, they all have to go in and sacrifice, but some of them don't go in the synagogue. That's kind of for the elite, those that think they're perfect, like the scribes and the Pharisees, think they're better than others. But Jesus came for everybody. Now, he spent his time in the synagogue because he's a priest. But he also went out and taught out in the countryside and in the mountains because they're people that need to know the message of God too. And so he kept it simple for them. So wherever you're at, whatever level you're at, ask God to explain things to you. Ask God to teach you, and he will at whatever level you're at. You start off easy. We're told that when you're a new Christian, you got to drink the milk of the word. You can't handle meat yet. Babies can't handle meat. But you need to strive to get to meat because you're not going to grow very well on just the milk. You grow initially because of the fat, but you need protein to build your body, to get stronger, to be able to handle the things that are coming. So you have to dig in and work more. Now, reading the Bible is one way to do it, but I suggest that you get a Bible commentary and read back and forth. Whatever Bible version you're using, get a commentary for that version. There is a different one. So I'm using the New King James, so I have a commentary for that. If you don't know what kind to get, I follow Samuel Barnett, and he recommends the MacArthur Study Bible. I have got to get something installed on my new laptop, and I can't make up my mind whose version of what I'm going to put on here. So I'm still researching. My old laptop had an old version that I can't find anymore. Now, the Bible is the Bible, pretty much. They find every once in a while something that they have to change, but it's minor stuff. There's never doctrinal stuff that they have to change. The New King James has taken the these and thous out, but it's the same interpretation. You want to make sure that if you're going to do these as a study Bible, you've got to get a Bible that is a word-for-word translation. The Living Bible, if you're new, it might help to teach you the stories. But if you're going to study, you want to upgrade to an adult version. The Living Bible explains it in simple English. There's other versions out there. The New International Version, American Standard, the New American Standard. Some people really like the King James because they think that by reading the these and thous, it sounds more holy, but it's a personal preference. If you need to do that, by all means do it. But I guarantee you they didn't speak with the King's English in the first century, Jerusalem. Okay, but if you like it, that's fine. There are people that won't go to a church if they don't sing hymns. There are people that won't go to a church if they don't sing modern music. Find what fits you. We're all unique. Hearing, I think that was a boat. I got an airplane over here, and I have a boat over here. But they're not as loud as they were at my last campsite, so I can deal with it. All right. We're still waiting. We're still watching. We're kind of in some doldrums right now. There's still fighting going on in Syria. It's like, why? It's been quiet for all this time. We're trying to egg on a war. Do you see what they're doing? They're trying to push people into a war. Why? Well, they want to basically take on the people that don't want to cooperate, for one. Countries like Iran, Russia, don't want to be part of the New World Order. So they're trying to pull them in. They're trying to get them to start attacking. Well, they're working through God's plan, whether they know it or not. So don't worry about it. We don't know our time, but not because the Bible says we won't know the day or the hour. That's not the rapture. That's the second coming. And we won't know the day or the hour. And Matthew is not talking about the rapture. He's talking about the second coming because he's talking to his disciples who were basically right there on Roman occupation saying, when are you going to come back as a king and free us? When are you going to be the lion and devour these people? Do you notice he didn't answer them outright? He said, don't be deceived. So he knew that there was time. They were looking for it right then. When we say the rapture, can be any minute, imminent, they were looking for the rapture or the second coming, whichever. They really weren't looking for the rapture because they weren't trying to escape to heaven. They were trying to rule in their city. Now, when Paul taught about the rapture, the Thessalonians thought that it was supposed to be then. Paul thought it was supposed to be soon. He was looking for it. He thought he was going to make it in the rapture. And he had to tell the Thessalonians, no, you didn't miss it. Times are just bad. That can apply today. Just because times get bad doesn't mean we've missed the rapture. It's got to fit in the timeline. And the timeline revolves around Satan coming to earth. The Revelation 12 sign, which we've already seen, which means that it's just alerting us. Now, if I were trying to do this with God's numbers, I'd make it 7 years. Interesting. Or, since Satan's doing this, maybe make it 6 years, which won't be this year, but it will be next year. So, I had someone correct me. I misstated something last video. I said Ezekiel when I meant Isaiah, and because I was going to quote both of them, and I get the name wrong. So I appreciate it when somebody finds where I said something wrong, because that means they're paying attention. Okay. But that's why I try to correct. I try to put the letters down below so you can look things up. And if it doesn't match, let me know. I'm using notes, but I'm trying to not read to you unless I'm reading out of the word. I'm trying to give you instructions from God as he gives them to me. But sometimes my mouth gets in the way and God can't control it. We all have that problem. All right. How are we doing on time? Okay. I don't see the clock on this. This is a different program because I'm on my laptop. I'm going to have to run a clock on the side, it looks like, because I don't see how long this is. So if it's even too short off, I'll try to do something different next time. I'm going to wrap this up, though, and I'm going to see how it uploads. This is my first test of straight uploading from the campsite with this new internet box. I'm still bouncing all over the place. I will have a table for the next time I do this, even if it's a couple of bin boxes over here. I'm trying to get used to all this. This new laptop is so light, I can pick it up with just one hand. My other laptop, it took two hands and effort to pick it up. It was about 20 pounds. This is about 9. So I have to get used to all this new stuff. Okay. However long this is, it's over. I hope you're having a great weekend coming up. I'm now stable in my new site, so I got a little bit of dressing to do in tomorrow. It's there's no rain on the atmosphere, so I'm okay. So I'll take care of that tomorrow until we meet in the clouds, which is not encouraging it to rain every day, people. It's been raining every day, and it's flooding around the world in different places. They just had flooding out in Colorado or Nevada, where it's starting to put water back into Lake Mead. So there's good in everything that can be bad to one person, it's good to another. All right. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless. And let's see if I can figure out how to end this. And there we go.